Have you ever wondered if our brains come with a pre-installed self-destruct mode, but like the slow-motion version? Not the big explosive kind, but the quiet, subtle kind that happens over thousands of tiny, ridiculously illogical decisions. Like paying $25 for a steak only to let it go completely cold for 10 minutes just to get the perfect picture for people you don't even know on Instagram. Welcome, everyone. And today we're going to talk about the magnificent yet deeply flawed human brain. More specifically, we're going to dissect one of the strangest rituals of the 21st century, the crusade for the perfect food photo. Picture this. You've worked your ass off all week. You've hustled, you've grinded, you've sat through enough Zoom meetings to make you want to throw your laptop out a window. And finally, it's Friday. You treat yourself to a meal at that trendy restaurant every food blogger is raving about. The dish arrives. It's a work of art, a perfectly seared piece of salmon on a bed of rainbow quinoa, accented with deliberately placed drops of balsamic glaze. The aroma hits you. Your stomach is screaming. Every cell in your body is yelling, "Eat it!" But what do? Do you eat? No, of course not. You are a civilized person of the digital age. Instead, you pull out your phone. The ritual begins. First, the angle. You stand up, you sit down, you lean over the table like a yogi in a complex pose. You might accidentally bump the person at the next table, but hey, art requires sacrifice. Then the lighting. Is the natural light from the window better, or does the candlelight on the table create a cozier vibe? You turn the flash on, then off. You ask your friend to use their phone's flashlight to create a professional studio effect. The poor salmon, meanwhile, is rapidly losing its heat. Its crispy skin is getting soft, and its very soul is slowly fading away. After taking roughly 47 photos from every conceivable angle, you begin the selection process. This one's too dark, that one focused on the fork by mistake. Finally, you find a worthy candidate. Now it's time for editing. Crank up the saturation to make the greens greener, boost the contrast to make the fish pop, maybe a Clarendon filter at 30% intensity. Perfect. Finally, the most important part, the caption. Friday vibes. Treat yourself. Foodgasm. Add a string of hashtags. Hashtag foodie, hashtag instafood, hashtag good eats, hashtag salmon, hashtag healthy. And then you hit post. You let out a sigh of relief and put your phone down. You look at the now lukewarm, slightly sad-looking piece of salmon. You take your first bite. It's fine. Not bad. But it's definitely not as good as it could have been 10 minutes ago. So what on earth is happening here? Why are we willing to sacrifice the actual experience, the taste, the temperature, the immediate joy of a good meal for a digital record of that experience? This isn't just about food. This is a symptom of a much larger condition. We are living in an age where proving you're living has become more important than actually living. We have turned our lives into a documentary where we are the director, the cinematographer, the main actor, and the audience is, well, it's also us, watching our own performance through the eyes of others. Where is the logic? The logical fallacy here is called confusing the signifier with the signified. In plain English, we're mistaking the map for the territory. The picture of the meal is the map. The actual meal is the territory. The map can be beautiful. It can be colored in. It can highlight points of interest. But you can't live on the map. You can't taste the map. We do this everywhere. Think about vacations. What percentage of your trip to the Grand Canyon was spent actually standing in awe of nature's majesty, and what percentage was spent trying to get a candid shot that makes you look like you're pondering the universe, when in reality you were just worried if you looked fat from that angle? Or how about hustle culture on LinkedIn? People don't just get a new job, they are thrilled to announce their new job. They share life-changing lessons from a minor work mistake. They post pictures of themselves working at 5 a.m. with a coffee and the caption, "Rise and grind," as if sleep deprivation were a badge of honor. What we're seeing is a curated, polished version of reality. It's a form of survivorship bias, social media edition. We only see the successful photos, the highlight reel moments. We don't see the 99 bad pictures that were deleted. We don't see the sleepless nights of anxiety, the brutal rejections, the sad desk lunches. We only see the beautifully packaged final product, and our brains, in their infinite naivete, think, wow, everyone's life is amazing, except for mine. And that's the logical trap. We start comparing our messy backstage to everyone else's polished front stage. It's a fundamentally broken comparison that leads to only one outcome, a feeling of inadequacy and anxiety. The French philosopher Jean Baudrillard talked about something called simulacra, copies of things that have no original. In his world, we have become so surrounded by symbols and images that they become more real than reality itself. The picture of the perfect latte art becomes more real, more meaningful than the latte itself. It no longer represents a drink. It represents good taste, a lifestyle, relaxation, a productive Saturday morning. The actual latte is just coffee. It will get cold, and it tastes, fine. But its image lives forever online, collecting likes, tiny units of social validation. Each like is a little dopamine hit for our brain. It says, "Good job, your performance has been approved, you're doing the right thing." And our brains, hardwired from prehistoric times to seek tribal approval, are addicted to this feeling. We sacrifice a hot steak for a digital dopamine hit. Evolutionarily speaking, this is a terrible trade. Our ancestors would look at us and just shake their heads in disgust. We hunted mammoths so you could take pictures of your avocado toast. And you know what the biggest irony is? While we're busy curating a life that looks good, we are missing the opportunity to have a life that actually feels good. The real joy isn't in proving you're having fun. It's in the act itself. The joy of a good meal is the taste, the texture, the atmosphere, the conversation with the person you're with. It's messy, it's imperfect, and it's often not photogenic. One deep, honest conversation with a friend over a messy dinner table is worth 1,000 perfectly staged brunch photos. One long hike where you're covered in mud, out of breath, but feel more alive than ever is more meaningful than 100 posed pictures at the summit. So what's the solution? Should we all throw away our phones and go live as hermits? No, I'm not a Luddite trying to sell you on a return to the Stone Age. Technology is great. Sharing moments is great. The problem isn't the tool, it's how we're using it. Maybe next time your food arrives, try a little experiment. Take 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. Look at it, smell it, feel the anticipation. And then, if you still want to, take a picture, a quick one. It doesn't have to be a Pulitzer Prize winner, just a quick memento. And then, put the phone down, face down, on silent, and just eat. Really taste it. Savor the heat, the crunch, the tenderness. Talk to the person across from you. Be there, 100%. Let the experience fill your senses instead of just filling your camera roll. Because the real logic of life isn't in collecting evidence. It's in experiencing it. Decades from now, you're not going to remember what the color saturation on that steak picture looked like. But you might remember the sound of your friend's laughter that night. You'll remember the feeling of satisfaction after a long week. Those are the things you can't photograph, you can't filter, and you can't post. They are yours alone. So I'll leave you with this question. When was the last time you did something truly wonderful, something that made you genuinely happy, and you told absolutely no one about it? When was the last time you had a perfect moment that was just for you, unvalidated by a single like? Think about it. Thanks for watching.